morning, everyone. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills, and yes, my kitchen is almost back to normal. Not quite, but some of it is. I still have a number of things to put back here, and my tomato machine is all packed up but not put away in case I have a very healthy harvest in my own garden all at once. So today's project is to finish off the potatoes that I picked from my garden. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that a month or two ago I did buy quite a number of potatoes because I had heard that there was a potato shortage, and not knowing whether that would come to fruition or not, I decided not to take a chance, and I dehydrated quite a few potatoes, and I also canned some. So at this point, I had picked probably a third of my potatoes from my garden. I'm going to try to leave the rest there as long as I can, and unfortunately this is a very busy time. And anyway, so I'm going to try and catch up on the potatoes, and what I'm going to do is I have got my canner on the stove because I'm going to can up some fries that Mark cut for me yesterday. I wasn't able to get at those yesterday. That would have been extremely ambitious. Not only that, I certainly didn't have the burners on the stove that would accommodate everything. And then the balance of them I am going to dehydrate, the ones that he felt were too small to cut into chips. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to start off with 7 because that's what the canner will take. I don't know if it'll take that many, but we'll start off with 7 and then see what happens from there. So I've got my fries that Mark prepared for me yesterday and I just couldn't get to, and I'm going to fill up these jars with fries, and then we're going to pressure can them. So, and we found that one quart-size mason jar was enough for 2 meals was enough for a meal for Mark and I. So 2 servings. Now this is the first time I will have canned homegrown potatoes. Hopefully they should be just as nice, if not nicer, than a store-bought variety. We did have one meal with these as fries, fresh, and they were just absolutely awesome, so that is why I decided to can up some more of them. They were firm, they were very nice. Looks like I might be able to fill up these jars. Okay, I do have some hot water boiling, both on the stove and on my kettle. Hopefully that should be enough for these. And I do have 2/3 of my potatoes yet to pick, or somewhere in that range. I only did pick a small portion of them, so I'm going to have to can up and dehydrate quite a few more, and I may just do one batch in chunks as well. We'll see what happens. So it looks like we're going to get 6 jars out of this, which is fine. So I'll just tamp these down, and any extras I will just fill up the other jars a bit. Okay, those are small bits. And what I like to do with these is just tamp them down a bit. As you can see, there's still space there. Whoa, that was close. And try to even them off again. Right. Okay, so that part is done. Now I could add nothing, but I think I will add a teaspoon of salt. And let me see if I could find my sea salt. There it is. Sea salt. I'm gonna have to go and fill up this jar again. It's getting on the empty side. Okay. We want 1/2 teaspoon. Yeah, that'll do. I'm sure that we will be adding salt on the fries when we're eating them. Okay, salt. And now I'm just pouring hot water on these. And we're going to leave an inch headspace. Bit of skin from the potato. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now we will try to debubble here. And of course the hot water will make the potatoes a little more pliable. Easy to do this. And I can already see this one we want to add just a bit more water, so I'm going to get the kettle back on again. You do want to remove any excess air that you can. Okay. And now I'm just going to go get some lids and rings. Okay, I've got my vinegar, and I'm going to clean the edges of these jars. There shouldn't be an issue, it's just water, but nothing to muck them up, but you never know. Always stay in the habit. I've got my lids ready and rings. Once again, just snug or finger tight depending on, oops, you know what? I was going to add a bit more water in some of these. Yes, this one's fine. These two need a bit more water. And that one there. Okay, good to go. Okay, potatoes need to be pressure canned. We do not water bath can potatoes. They are a low acid food, and for safety need to be pressure canned. Okay, I'm going to put these in the canner now. Okay, and I use the Presto pressure canner, and it requires 3 quarts of water as per manufacturer's instructions. I sometimes put another pint on top of that, but that's fine. And it can take 7 of these jars, but I only have 6, so I'm good to go. Now I'm going to put the balance of the vinegar that I have left over into the canner, and the reason I do that is just to prevent the water minerals in the water, from building up on the outside of your jars and making them cloudy. So this way they stay pretty and you can see what's inside them. For those of you that are new to canning, we allow this to come to a boil, and it vents out of this spout. It could be a combination of air and moisture, so steam. But we have to let that vent for 10 minutes, and you wait till you have this little lock at the back. Let's see if I can show it to you here. There's a little lock there at the back. So once that has popped up, it means the canner is airlocked, except for this little steam vent. And so you let this steam for a full 10 minutes, and once that's done, then you put your pressure gauge on. Now, in my altitude, which is less than 1,000 feet above sea level, I can pressure can this at 10 pounds pressure. So that's what I use. If you're at a different altitude, check what you need to set it at. It could be 15 pounds. It just depends on your altitude. So then we can this for 40 minutes. When it's done, I crack the lid and let it, when everything has gone back down in pressure, when it's gone back down to 0 again, I just crack the lid and allow it to cool a little slower. It helps to prevent siphoning if you just don't expose it to an extreme change in air temperature. So that's the process, and now gotta do the rest of the potatoes. Okay, this bowl is pretty much what I have left from my recent pick, and the process here is that we're going to cut, cube, and then blanch before we dehydrate. Should go fairly quickly, but it's all a process. Now, that is what I have dehydrated from my garden so far, and I expect to get at least another 1 or 2 of those by the time we're done. No, I'm not bothering to peel. It's enough of a job. Thought I'd pulled all the stems off already. Okay. Beautiful, white, firm potatoes. Now I just dump the little bits in water until they're ready to be blanched. Okay, so I'll continue this process until I'm done. Okay, all my potatoes are diced. Oh, and I'm hoping I can get this all on the one dehydrator all at once. And I've got my water boiling, and I'm going to blanch these. So put them in the water, wait for them to come up to boil, and then blanch for about 4 minutes. And I'm going to do this in 2 batches. Yes. Okay. Then when they come out of the, now the noise you hear is my canner right behind it, doing the other potatoes there. So yeah, it's busy bubbling away. Okay, so when this is blanched for 4 minutes, we run it under a really cold water to stop them from cooking, and then we'll put them on the dehydrator trays. Okay, and I'll show you that process as we go along. But right now we're just waiting for this to come to a boil, and we'll process for 4 minutes after that. 4 minutes are up, first batch out. And my timer is telling me that it's time to put my weight on my pressure canner. Okay, we'll run this under more cold water. Get these cooled down and add the next batch in there. All right. Okay, when my canner comes up to 10 pounds pressure, then we set the timer for 40 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to cool these other guys off and we'll start preparing the dehydrator trays. Okay, wipe my trays down, but they just had potatoes in them the last time anyway, but just give them a quick wipe. And for those who are interested, that is just a little bowl from the Asian market that is used to hold soy sauce or something in that nature, but it works perfectly here. That's all it is, it's just a little sauce bowl. So, time to... And I'm going to try to put these on fairly thickly because I want to get them all on one. I don't want a few left over to do a second batch, if I can help it. And if it's too thick, that's not good either, so we'll take some out. You want one layer only, but you can certainly fill up the tray. I believe the last time the last tray was fairly light anyway, so we should be okay. So spread them evenly, one layer only, and onto tray number 2. Now I just have an inexpensive dehydrator, and if you have something a little more substantial, that's awesome. I bought this and then I didn't use it for years. It was just in the cupboard. But this year it's getting quite the workout. Okay, I should have more than enough trays. Push it over. Flatten it out and push it over. That's the way to do it. Okay, my jiggler is starting. That's the noise that I hear, so now I can set my timer for 40 minutes here. So 2 sets of potatoes going. And I may do some chunks the next time. I don't know. It just depends on how many wide-mouth quart jars I have. Might do a mixture of both. Okay, I'm going to go drain this bit out and be right back. And I notice my last batch of potatoes has just come up to a boil, so 4 minutes from now I should be able to take the rest of that out. Okay, flatten. And press to one side. Okay, and I do have another 2.5 trays, and I've used 2.5. Hopefully I should be okay. All right, I'll get back to you when I get the rest of these. Okay, the last of the potatoes, blanched, rinsed, and cooled off. And now we're gonna load up the trays. And what is so awesome about this is that none of these potatoes go to waste. I would have liked nothing better than to keep them in a cool basement and keep them fresh, but that's just not going to happen. So next best thing is to can them up and make sure that we have them all winter. And yes, we do have a potato shortage apparently, so having grown my own has certainly helped. And if I have more than what I need for my own needs, I certainly have children that may not have taken any precautions. So I know my son said, yeah, he would like some jars of tomatoes, and now, I always make them for him every year anyway, so it's not as though he's coming to me. But he doesn't eat them. He doesn't use all that many. If he has 2 dozen a year, I think that would be probably more than he would ask for. And I do kind of give him like 6 at a time. Okay, I'm going to be able to load up all the trays. Good. I did put them rather thickly. 1 layer, but still thickly. So I don't really see that I'm going to have a problem here. I might have even had room for a couple more potatoes. Okay, last tray. And before I have to apologize for the jiggler. It is really making a lot of noise. Anyway, I'm going to strain this water and come right back. Okay, now just spread it out. Perfect. Okay, this is going to go on the dehydrator at 140 degrees, and I leave it overnight. I don't even bother to check it till the morning. As a matter of fact, the last time that I did these potatoes, I was amazed that they were all dry evenly. I didn't switch trays around. Sometimes I do that because one will dry and the other one won't. But for some reason, these potatoes all dried the same, and they were beautiful. So here I go now, just put them on the tray.